It aligns with what Mark Carney had said the other day, which is basically, look out, Canada, because I'm going to be bringing in a new version of Bill C-63 if we get elected, but it's going to be on steroids. There's some unwritten rules about politics. Now, if you're going to be doing something sleazy in politics,
don't get caught.
Don't get caught. And if you're going to get caught,
don't out yourself.
Don't do it in a manner where right after you do it, you walk into a bar, order some drinks, and then start broadcasting what you've done in the middle of Ottawa, where everyone has ears everywhere.
The walls have ears in Ottawa.
Don't do that.
And definitely don't do it with an earshot of a CBC reporter.
Maybe not a great idea. Maybe not a... if even the CBC is going to report on it, hello, you may want to rethink that. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is our story for the day. Liberals get caught cheating in the election. And how did they get caught cheating, you may ask? Well, let's take a look. Liberal operatives planted "Stop the Steal" buttons at Conservative conference. Conservatives accuse Liberals of attempting to bring American-style politics to Canada. Okay. This is the
craziest, most half-baked plan I've ever heard of.
Well, it's also the irony in all of this, because what have we been hearing from the Liberals for the last 2 years? Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives trying to bring American-style politics up in Canada. That's what they keep telling us. Meanwhile, they're the ones that brought up Hillary Clinton. They're the ones that brought up Bernie Sanders. They're the ones that are bringing up all this divisive rhetoric. It is insane, the projection that they have been using over the last couple of years. So it's amazing. Karma is so funny. So when the Conservatives turn around and say, well, what are they doing? Now, what do they mean by this? 2 Liberal Party staffers attended last week's Canada Strong and Free networking conference, where they planted buttons that used Trump-style language and highlighted division within the Conservative Party. The conference, often referred to by its former name, the Manning Conference, is an opportunity for conservative-leaning Canadians to talk about policy proposals and network. It was held at the Westin Hotel in downtown Ottawa. Now, that is only a stone's throw away from Parliament Hill, for those wondering. Some attendees noticed buttons appearing at the event.
One said, quote, "Stop the steal," end quote, an apparent reference to Donald Trump's attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 U.S. presidential election. The Liberal Party of Canada has sought to tie Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre to the American president in speeches and ads. Some Conservative supporters have expressed skepticism about polling numbers that put the Liberals ahead. Another button had the name Jenny Byrne crossed out with the name Corey Tenek, sorry, I probably pronounced that wrong, underneath. Byrne is the National Campaign Director for the Conservative Party of Canada. Tenek is a longtime Conservative strategist who played a key role in Ontario Premier Doug Ford's re-election campaign. He has been deeply critical of the Conservative Party of Canada's campaign to date. The buttons were scattered in the event space in a way to give the impression that they were made and left by people attending the conference. In fact, the idea came from the Liberal war room.
On Friday night in Ottawa bars, campaign workers shared how the party was behind this move, how 2 Liberal Party staffers attended the conference intended for Conservatives and placed these buttons in areas where attendees would find them. One of those conversations was in the immediate earshot of this journalist. A Conservative source overheard the other conversation. The Liberal Party did not respond to a request for comment, but also did not deny their campaign's involvement. Quote, "It's unfortunate, but not surprising that the Liberals would seek to misrepresent the views of attendees of our conference," end quote, said CSFN spokesperson Alex Spence in a statement. Quote, "These divisive, gimmicky tactics say more about the Liberals than they do of the united and growing Conservative movement," end quote. Sources told CBC News that people working on the Poilievre campaign were instructed not to attend the conference and instead be out door knocking.
Smart move.
Quote, Despite their public claims, it's clear that it's the Liberals who are attempting to bring American-style politics to our country, end quote, said Conservative Party of Canada spokesperson Sam Lilly in a statement. Quote, one wonders what other dirty tricks the Liberals are behind as they desperately seek to distract from their disastrous record while seeking a fourth Liberal term. Now, this is a dirty move.
It's very dirty.
And it's dirty for
many reasons.
More than the obvious reasons, right? So it's deplorable.
It's sleazy to me because it's not targeting politicians. It's just targeting like your everyday person who happens to believe conservative values, who may happen to vote conservative. It's just targeting average everyday Canadians, trying to make them look bad by placing these kinds of buttons around, hoping that they'll pick them up and put them on their bag.
Well, just think about this, folks. Think about what their aim is here. The Liberals make a bunch of these buttons. They bring them in, hoping people put them on. And then when people would put them on, it's so they can point at them and say, hey, you put on that button, you're a Trump supporter.
Right. Look at these conservatives. Look at the people at this conference who were supporting Trump and blah, 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 right?
Despite the fact that we actually spent the money to actually manufacture these buttons to give to you. Now, let me pause there. Because I just said something very important.
You did.
Spent the money. Here's the thing, folks. And I know I say here's the thing a lot. It's becoming a new catchphrase for me. But here's the thing. Every dollar that is spent during a campaign must be reported. That must be reported to Elections Canada.
And not even just the money spent, but for example, if you have somebody who is professionally a graphic artist and they volunteer for free to do work on your campaign for graphic arts, you have to report that to Elections Canada as if it were money spent.
Right. So there must be a paper trail of this. If there's not, then the Liberal Party of Canada has broken the law. And that could be a big problem for them. The other thing here is because this was a Liberal staffer, this means that it wasn't just some rogue Liberals that said, hey, this will be funny, let's go and do this. And it also means that it wasn't just from a Liberal riding. What this means is this actually came
from headquarters.
And this is Carney's campaign team. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Because if this staffer gets fired, odds are what the staffer is going to do is go and sit down with some journalists and say, well, this is the person who told me to do it. And then this thing blows up. So are they going to fire the staffer, or are they just going to hide them away until the campaign is over?
They'll just keep it hush-hush, no doubt.
Right? So, but regardless, this is a terrible scandal to happen in the middle of an election.
But above and beyond the legality in terms of the money, what else is a written rule in Elections Canada is that if you are putting out literature, if you are putting out a message, if you're putting up signs, etc., you have to have on the bottom of it or somewhere on it that this message was approved by the Liberal Party of Canada, Conservative Party of Canada, Rhino Party of Canada, whatever, right? It has to have that tagline on it that it was approved by such and such party or on behalf of such and such party. And these buttons didn't have that on them.
Right. So that is also a big problem. Now it sounds like something bureaucratic, but it's actually really important. And it's important so that Elections Canada can evaluate the election and the conduct of the parties to ensure that everybody is operating above board. So think about this, folks. They make these buttons with the intent of
entrapping.
Entrapping a bunch of people. But Elections Canada says that those buttons, because their literature being put out by the Liberal Party of Canada, have to have authorized by the Liberal Party of Canada on them. And if they don't, that's a big problem.
Well, and I think the gray area comes in where nobody's ever tried this before that we know of. Who thinks of, I'm going to go into an event where there's going to be mostly people who vote Conservatives. We're not even targeting the politicians. We're targeting everyday Canadians who happen to vote Conservative. And we're going to leave a bunch of buttons around so that they can fall into our trap and look like Americans. Like I don't even know what the goal was here. It's so ridiculous.
It's stupid.
It is stupid. This is like the worst idea I've heard of.
So, but this unfortunately is aligning to the trend that we've seen from Justin Trudeau and his Liberal government, and now the Carney Liberal Party, because they're not in government right now. And it aligns with what Mark Carney had said the other day, which is basically, look out, Canada, because I'm going to be bringing in a new version of Bill C-63 if we get elected, but it's going to be on steroids. So the other way to interpret this is that this Liberal Party is willing to literally plant evidence or plant messaging that would be associated with Canadians and then blame them for it.
Well, the thing that gets me the most, and I've already said this a few times, but the fact that it wasn't targeted at politicians. Like, when you're running a campaign, your target, if you will, is your opponent, the other politicians. And the fact that they were targeting everyday Canadians, that's disgusting.
And a lot of people will say, does it surprise you? No.
No, but it's disappointing, and it's scary, to be quite frank.
Yeah, and it's still shocking. It's still shocking, because it may not be surprising, but it's still shocking. And it's scary because it confirms
that they're targeting Canadians.
Yeah, and it confirms the assumptions of their ill intent. If you really cared about Canadians, why are you targeting Canadians, Carney?
Well, and this is the thing. If Mark Carney wins the election, he's not going to be just the prime minister of the people who voted for him. He's going to be the prime minister of all of us. And the fact that they see no issue with targeting those of us who don't vote for Carney, that to me is a problem.
Yeah, it's a big, big problem. Yet these are the same Liberals that say, well, we don't divide people. It's Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives that have been dividing them. And I just have 3 words. Are you kidding?